Marsha Kristen, and welcome to Heartfelt. Heartfelt stands for Foundational Experiential Learning Track, and I will be your facilitator for this self-led program. I'm going to go through a tiny bit of history and then some explanation of the purpose and format and hopes for the use of this program to support you. So Heartfelt started in 2018. It was really to fill a gap between the first introductory classes and offerings and learnings about nonviolent communication created by Marshall Rosenberg, and these integration programs and practices. There really were only a few. There were some immersion programs, but not as many as would support the people that wanted them. So it was created to support those wanting to more deeply integrate the concepts and principles in a felt sense, whether they wanted to become a certified trainer in nonviolent communication or not. The hope was to have body-based practices to support living and knowing nonviolent communication consciousness and form, really the essence, and integrating it into everyday lives. It was part of something I had a dream for. I was part of the trainer candidate community path, and I still am a part of that. And it's an assessing community, and it's really to support people being able to offer this work in the world and live, share, and know this precious consciousness. And so we began as a prototype in 2018, and it was a 9-month program that went through into 2019. And it was made up of a group of people from around the world, a small group, but mostly US based. And it came out of hoping to support learning communities. And at that time, we were really looking at creating different groups of people connected with the Center for Nonviolent Communication. And I'm a certified trainer with the Center for Nonviolent Communication. And this was a hope of really spreading places where people could gather and integrate, and whether they wanted to become a certified trainer or not. At that time, the only path really to this level of integration was to be on the certification path. And so it felt important to have a place for just people who wanted to be NVC practitioners and wanted some more integration. So Heartfelt continued into a second year of prototyping with some returning members and some new members. And the curriculum was originally created by myself and with my dear friend and colleague, Genevieve Keller, who's also a certified trainer. And then the second year, it was added on to and revised by myself, Kenneth Enright, Anita Anandan, and Joel Westby, along with feedback from the participants. So purpose. The dream was to be able to create a learning community of co-explorers that would practice together and integrate this felt sense of the consciousness and form of nonviolent communication by Marshall Rosenberg. And it was an invitation to co-explore together and to live it while we were exploring it. It was decided that the main form would be using the Pathways to Liberation matrix, which is by Jim Mansky, Jory Mansky, Jacob Gottwals, and John Lehman. And we'd also be using the core commitments by certified trainer Miki Kashtan, and the key differentiations, which are part of the Center for Nonviolent Communication certification preparation packet, which is on their website. And this curriculum guide took in all the different pieces of feedback from the 40 plus sessions that were each 2 hours long for these 2 years. So the intention, this can be used as a self-study, maybe with a buddy, within a family, or in a group or community. The encouragement is to use it in a learning community, and the hope is that it's a springboard for practice and exploration where you could do certain sessions over multiple times or do it in different ways, add onto it, use it as something that might spawn some creativity. It can be modified to fit the group or cultural setting, backgrounds and community. That's the hope. And it's also a hope those who use it and modify it will give us feedback so that this can continue to grow and evolve. We've really attempted to integrate aspects regarding power, privilege, rank, status, and the impact of domination systems on all of us. And I'm sure it could use more eyes and more to really fully embrace a consciousness that's based on interdependence, shared power, and prioritizing connection. In fact, it can be used as a decolonizing program to really look at domination culture, which sometimes today is referred to a white supremacy culture, where there's this belief of a certain group is better than, and that goes to all kinds of different identities and the different aspects of white supremacy culture. And within the materials, there'll be some links to some evolving documents about what are the different aspects and cultural norms within this domination culture that may not always be serving life and serving the needs of all. And it can be a program to reclaim this collective, interdependent, compassionate consciousness that is a part of all of us and is a part of our survival. And this is really the exploration that I'm wanting to invite you into. Next, the format, just to help you. There's usually a meditation or grounding, some kind of remembering, and you can bring in your own, but it's there to support you if it's just easier to have that already done. It helps to set the intention, and it helps to practice the consciousness the moment we begin each session together. There's some silence that can be added at any time and pauses. There's a connection time built in to be however that group, your group, would like to use it. Just that pausing and checking in. And there's also a group check-in to be part of the practice of connection. And then the main part is the exploration of a piece of the Pathway to Liberation Matrix, or which might be referred to as the Matrix for short, along with bringing in some core commitments or some key differentiations. And there's usually a practice in pairs or in small groups, and then some kind of harvest from that practice. And then closing with an invitation for the week for continued practice, or for you to explore what kind of practices you imagine might be supportive. And then there's a closing and a checkout. So how to use the guide and the videos. The way that this video series works is there'll be just my piece is the facilitation part, and then you can pause and do the practices however you would like. Hopefully you can see that the guide is there to support you in understanding what the layout of the session might be, and the videos are there to make it easier to have that sense of ease, and also a sense of shared power, where your group can alternate who might be the facilitator within your group, as far as bringing in the videos or setting that up, pausing when needed, or helping with any of the practices or the technology. You can also practice facilitating yourself. You might watch the video at home and then maybe choose to facilitate it on your own. I just wanted to highlight some strategies that evolved that might be supportive, and this could be whether it's online or in person, is that when we had breakout groups and we did some of the practices, when it was on Zoom, we noticed that instead of closing the rooms and sort of making everyone stop, that it really met a lot of needs to be able to be at choice. And so we would send notices that the time that we had agreed upon had come to a close, and that people could close in the manner and in the pacing that they needed, and they could return to the main room. And if we were in person, that would be the same invitation, that we might be able to say, this time has passed, and you are at choice when to join everyone in the main group, and that you have that sense of a choice about your own pacing and how you close your practice session. We also found another strategy of using rounds was supportive in looking at the norms of cultures that often aren't named. And this way, rounds brought some voices in that may not often choose to go first, or often aren't heard for the length and being the voices that come in first. So when we had any harvesting or asking questions, checking in or checking out, or responding to some of the inquiries, we had a sense of more shared power and accessibility, equity, and choice, we might pick one person and they could either share or pass, and then they would pick the next person. And it helped to bring in some awareness about the way that we have social rank, structural rank, and power, and how it comes out in a group. So I hope this has been helpful, and I hope you have a sense of welcome and a sense of excitement and inspiration to start on this journey of exploration together. From my heart to yours, I hope that this is supportive in your journey. Thank you.